Of course, one of the questions I know people, I'm sure, ask you all the time, or they may ask you, is, there is usually a lengthy period between Roberta Flack albums. I think that's
Yeah.
historically true. And do you still have the same response to that you had back in the day?
What was my response?
Well, I think it was really that, I'm not going to put out a record until I'm really ready, until the music's ready, until I have,
Music is ready.
until,
That's the important thing.
yeah, until I have something that I want to present.
And this is a different time. Times are different in your career as a recording artist, as you know, being one yourself. And the thing is that if I had the money and I was involved at an ego level, which is required, I think, if you're going to be a musician or if you're going to be a performer of music, certainly you have to have a great level of ego in there so that you don't get scared and you just go ahead and do it because you know how. So if I had all of those, everything at my control, I would do it more often. If I could put the music out that I wanted to put out without any worry about how it was going to be promoted, or any of that, I would certainly, take chances, because everything that we do as artistic people and creative people is not always perfect, even for our own standards. We listen to it later and we go, daggone, why did I do that? I should have done the other thing or whatever. But the point is, I don't have those means. I don't have the means to take those chances, to put out something that may work or may not work. When I put it out, I have to be sure that at least this is what I mean. This is what I mean, y'all. Okay,
right,
I mean to say it's right here.
Right.
And they can like it or not, I was reading some of the reviews for this album, and I'm thinking, I never read any reviews for First Take. I wonder how many people didn't like that. But a lot of the people who are writing reviews in the States seem to be comparing this album to my earlier albums, and I have myself to blame because I haven't done that many. The last one that I did, which I thought was a gem, was my album called Roberta, and we were nominated for a Grammy. Didn't win, but came close. Nominated with Tony Bennett and Barbara Streisand, Willie Nelson, and somebody else. I forgot. But, I said, hey, put Roberta Flack in there. That makes me, I was sticking out my chest anyhow.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's good company. And we did some wonderful things on there, and Atlantic, as a record company, supported it to a point, but not really. And I knew that was going to be the case, not until the record came out. So I decided not to do another one until I knew that I could live with the results. If the record company supports it, fine. If they don't, I can live with the results. If it becomes a humongous hit, of course, I would be oh so happy.
Right.
For the first time in years, we're on the Billboard charts. So that's a good sign. If I don't move up, I'm not going to be mad. Because I'm on the charts, Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, obviously, I think there are some artists who can say, well, look, I've made 40 albums, and then there are those like yourself who haven't made 40 albums. But it really is the quality, because the truth is that it really, particularly in your case, the number you've made hasn't made any difference to the fact that you have established yourself in contemporary music by virtue of those albums and particular songs. So I guess in one sense, it's a little irrelevant that you haven't made 40 or 30 or 20.
I think so. I think you're absolutely right. And I also think that if my name were Rihanna or Lady Gaga, who I love, by the way, I love her musicianship.
Yeah.
If that was my name were Lady Gaga or Rihanna, and I decided to do an album, it would be looked at even if it weren't loved. If I do an album now, if I did an album 10 years ago, or even 15, whenever my last album came out, let's say 15 years, 16, 14, 13 years ago, people would be looking at it and still comparing it to what I did in 1969.
Right.
Because that was the hate. I mean, I don't think anybody has a recording career that just goes on infinitely, forever. Tony Bennett looks like he's trying to do it, but even he has to call on the help of some very, very, very modern day recording artists who have hits. You had Amy Winehouse, you had Lady Gaga. I mean, how can you go wrong if you just say featuring Amy Winehouse, featuring Lady Gaga? People will buy that out of curiosity. But I think people who buy my album will have to listen to it. At least go on iTunes, download the sampling, and decide if they want to buy the whole album, one or none. And I think we're living in a different time, you know, in terms of recording careers. And here I am in the middle of it, and I'm very happy about that, period.
Yeah. Well, I know we only have a short amount more time, so I must ask you an important question, for me anyway. You know, you have been recording for, well, we say 1969, but around that time. When you look back at your career, when you stand now in 2012 and you look back, how do you feel about what you've accomplished?
I feel good. I would like to have a larger catalog of successful recordings, but I think I've done a lot. And I think there's a lot of music on. I love living in the age of technology that allows us to look back at our own stuff without, you know, having to go into piles of dusty bins and dig it up and see if we can find the cut or whatever. Yes. You just go to iTunes and put your name in there, or YouTube, put your name in there, and even on other people's lines, you know, tweet spaces and Facebook pages. I'm all over there, and I think it's rewarding because some of it makes me go, oh, and other stuff makes me go, what is that? Oh my goodness, I never saw that. Somebody put up their phone and recorded me singing somewhere, let's say 20 years ago. I had a little recording device with them 20 years ago. You know, you don't think about that, but it's rewarding. So I think that I have so much to be grateful for that if I could complain about something, I wouldn't know where to start because overall it has been good. I just think, as I said, that the best part is that you can go on your computer and see the history, check the history of my recordings. And I did start to record. My first album was in '69. Yes. That was first take. And before that, I was singing at Mr. Henry's. Yeah. And that's that, you know. Yeah. And my second thing was in '72 for Killing Me Softly. Sure. And, you know, I mean, I've had some wonderful moments. People have been covering me. Yeah. And now I'm covering the Beatles. I think it's wonderful. It's great.
Well, I've got two more you can't have two last questions. So I have one question, then one last final question. As a result of doing this project, are you inspired to want to do a similar kind of project with any other composers in mind?
I don't know. I'm so in love with the Beatles. Okay. I still want a chance to sing Once There Was a Way. You know. Yes. To get back home again. That chord. To get back home again. Da-dee-dee. I mean, the chords that are played as accompanying chords wipe me out. Most of the time, I can't get past that. I gotcha. Musically, because it's just so incredibly beautiful. So I have been talking to the people at Sony who hold the publishing about the possibility of a second album. They suggested it. Okay. And I don't know, you know, I would be happy to do a bunch of songs, cover a bunch of songs. I'd like to write some. I have an album that's going to be out sooner rather than later called The Real Artist Symposium, featuring myself, and it's The Real Artist Symposium being a group of gathering, of course, of highly intelligent and extremely musical folks in this instance, and we do a lot of songs that are brand new, that some of the members of the symposium have written for me and for themselves. Yes. But I think you'll like that too. I'm going to see if I can get up a sampling of that and send that to you early, if you promise me not to play it for anybody else.
I promise not to. But I have one final question. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, just jumping off of something you said a few moments ago about rediscovering your own music. In the process of doing that, when you have in fact gone on iTunes or on your computer, have there been any of your recordings that you've listened back to and really like marveled at, that you had forgotten about? That you had forgotten about?
Yes. On Blue Lights in the Basement, a song that Michael Masser wrote called After You.
Oh, yeah.
Because I actually had the nerve, or for want of a better word, to say to myself and to the people I was working with as producers, I see myself at a French cafe, outdoors at a French cafe with in those days I was smoking cigarettes, with a long cigarette holder and this fabulous cigarette smoke puffing, and because the words say, and this little drizzle of rain coming down, and there I sit like one of those English maidens, from book lore, Vita Sack West or somebody. Raining again, I ought to get out from under. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder. I don't wonder at all. Do you know that song?
Yeah, I love the song. It's a gorgeous song.
I do too. And there's another one. After You, and then this other song I love is a song from Eugene McDaniels called Early Every Midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. And then I also love Love is the Healing.
Yes.
I mean, I think those songs, people miss those songs because they sound more like, instead of being pop tunes or tunes that when the album was released, we could put them in a category of pop, R&B, or whatever. They're sort of kind of jazz / pop / R&B, but they're so worthy because the lyrics are so good. When Eugene McDaniel says, "Early every midnight, you're going to hear me call your name." Come on now. Loud and clear. Will you hear?
Yes.
Will you hear what's here in my heart? It's so beautiful and it's wonderful. So I think that those songs were missed, and a lot of songs on the album that I did with Arif Martin. There's a young lady named come on, she's going to kill me. I can see her face. Can't think of her name. But anyway, she wrote a song called When Someone Tears Your Heart in Two. And I sing that song with Shaka Khan's brother, Mark Stevens.
Mark Stevens, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, have you heard that song?
I have. I absolutely have.
And you should, yeah, if you can make that available to somebody else that you would like to share with, because it's a great song. I mean, this girl can write, and Arif did a great job. The fortunate or unfortunate thing about working with great producers like Sherrod, I just finished working with him, and Arif and Joel Dawn, is they tend to put you, even if you don't want your performance to be dated. I have tried my best not to sound like I'm still recording in the 70s. I'm still recording in the 80s. But you have to be very careful. You have to work with people who know how to use the heartbeat and the pulse of today. And so when I read a review and the guy say, well, what happened to so-and-so? I say, well, where are you? Are you listening to music today? Do you hear anything that sounds like that? And do you think I should still be singing? I'm 70-something. What should I be singing? What should I be singing? Should I be singing what makes my heart skip a beat and makes me light and makes me want to dance? Or should I sing something that takes me back 25, 30 years ago and drags me down in terms of my musical energy? I'm not going to do that. Right. So there we go.
All right. Well, that's the perfect note to complete our interview. It's always a pleasure and an honor, a privilege, and all those things I said at the beginning to talk to you. I love talking to you. I know we could talk for absolutely hours.
No, we could, David. I love you. Take care of yourself.
You take care of yourself, and we'll wait for the next. And before we get to the next one, we want to make sure everyone listens to this one.
Thank you, David.
Okay, take care now, Roberta. Bye.
Bye, sweetie.
Bye.